Switching gears now, focusing up and down the table. Let's give our match week 32 preview and score predictions for how these games are going to turn out. Of course, there's a couple of FA Cup semi-finals, Nick, so there's a couple of games there missing in the schedule. Obviously, Man City are playing Sheffield United and Man United are playing Brighton at Wembley in those two FA Cup semi-finals. So all signs point towards a Manchester derby in the FA Cup final at the end of the season. But Brighton in particular, you feel like they've still got a few more upsets up their sleeve. But focus on the title race in the Premier League. Obviously, the big game this weekend with City not playing is Arsenal against Southampton. We focused on that earlier in the show on PST. We said the Gunners, this should be a pretty easy win for them. Is there any way here, Nick, that they don't get this done against the last place team in the table, Southampton, who are desperate, scrapping for survival? But Arsenal are just too good right now, right? Even if they've coughed up a few leads recently, you got to feel like they're going to take care of business on Friday night at the Emirates.
Oh, yeah, I 100% do. I usually try to avoid absolutes, and you want to say 99% sure. No, I think this is, frankly, because I think this is going to be a big day for Bukayo Saka. I don't know that he's had so many big games against Saints, Joe. You will be, obviously, as our resident St. Mary's guy, you'll be able to tell us a little bit more about that if you have an enduring memory of him. But I just think this is a spot for him at home after missing that penalty to just go off. And maybe it's a goal and 2 assists. Maybe it's just an influential day where he's pulling the strings and putting other people out of position. But I think Saka's the difference in this one. And if he's not, it's going to be Odegaard or it's going to be Martinelli, because whatever you want to say about how Arsenal's defense has struggled in recent weeks, their attack's still putting up 2 goals a game. That should be enough to win. And I think it will be enough against Saints at home.
Yeah, I think even if the defensive deficiencies, if there's a few mistakes there, Saints just aren't good enough going forward to make the most of those, like Liverpool are, or even West Ham were last weekend. So I think even if Arsenal aren't at their best and they're still going to be missing Saliba and Zinchenko after injury for this game, I think they'll be totally fine. So yeah, easy home win there for the Gunners. And Bukayo Saka, would be great to see him back in full form and just show everybody how good he is after that penalty miss, because it happens. It's a penalty kick, but he's been brilliant all season long. So we'd love to see him dazzle under the lights in North London on a Friday night. Focusing on the top 4 in the European race. Again, another game we spoke about earlier on PST, Newcastle against Spurs. Big game there, Nick, in the top 4 race. Newcastle, 3 points ahead of Spurs and a game in hand of them heading into this game. So pressure's all on Tottenham. What are you thinking for that one?
Yeah, Newcastle's been so good at home for the most part that it gives me pause to say this, but I still think all in all, man for man, that Tottenham has more talent. And I think the desperation is going to be there as well. They have to be embarrassed right now. And I think a proud team that is embarrassed, it's a very dangerous animal to hunt. And I really look at Tottenham and say, if they don't get something out of this game, a draw or a win, then Conte was right, because if you can't come off what happened against the Cherries and not show up. I don't care if the game's on the moon. I know that people treat London to Northeast England as if you're going from Seattle to Orlando, Florida, but we know that's not the case. It's not as big of a deal as it should be. And I just think it'll be a real judgment on Tottenham, as good as Newcastle has been, if they don't put up a strong performance this week.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Spurs just to nick it. I think their desperation is there, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw, especially with the St. James's Park factor and the home crowd and all the rest of it. And Newcastle, like you said, have been so good at home all season. And we'll want to show a bit of reaction themselves from that big defeat of Villa, which was out of the blue last week after their recent good form. Talking about Villa, they're going to Brentford. Villa have an outside chance of making the top 4 right now, because they still have all the teams around them to play. They have Brighton, Man United, and Spurs to play this season. So Unai Emery, what a job he's done. Ollie Watkins, 11 goals in his last 12 games now. Villa have won 5 on the spin. And Brentford have gone 5 games without a win, which is rare for them. And Thomas Frank's done a great job again. But kind of 2 teams heading in different directions, right, Nick? And I just didn't see this coming from Villa. I knew they had some good, talented players. But when Emery come in, what a shrewd managerial appointment that was. Didn't expect them to be able to pull off that caliber of a manager, but they did. And my word, what a difference he's made. So what are you expecting from Brentford against Villa? This should be a fun one with 2 teams having, what's the word? Not unrealistic, but unexpected European aspirations this season.
Yeah, to me, Brentford is somewhere in between, and obviously the history is a little bit different. But there's someone in between the way we would look at an Everton or a Spurs when they get up in that territory, and you think to yourself, either you're going to make it and stick, or you might just drop all the way down. And that is kind of what I think might be happening with the Bees right now. They're incredibly talented. I think they were riding a surge of momentum. It's a reason that I actually worry to have a tiny FA Cup tangent. It's the reason I worry a little bit for Brighton right now, kind of what happened with Fulham when those that lofty air you're breathing, right? Suddenly is a little bit lower and the plane's going down, and not as a crash, but it's going down to land instead of staying high in that blue sky. There's danger there. And I think Brentford has struggled with that danger of, oh, wait, we're not going to finish in the top four. Oh, well, are we going to finish in the top seven? And I think this is dangerous territory for them, which is why I think we'll get a big performance out of the Thomas Frank Bees.
So you're going for a Brentford win. All right.
No, I'm going for a draw, but I just
Okay.
think we're going to get a good performance.
Okay, going for a draw. That's fair enough. Liverpool against Forest. Forest beat Liverpool earlier this season. That seemed like a long time ago, but that happened. But they're really struggling. They are sinking like a stone, Nottingham Forest. Any chance of them beating Liverpool? Because we saw Liverpool against Leeds, really good. Ruthless streak is there. But again, we said it all season long. Such a Jekyll and Hyde team. They will beat Man United by 7, beat Leeds, score 6 on Leeds, and then they'll lose away at Forest and Bournemouth. So weird team, but it feels like Jurgen Klopp's had some time on the training ground to work a few things out. Trent playing that sort of hybrid role. A lot of people are talking about that. But most importantly, Gakpo, Salah, Jota and attack firing all cylinders. So I kind of really fear for Nottingham Forest in this one.
I do too. I just don't think they have some intriguing pieces. Felipe, Danilo. They have some guys that I like to give you a spot situation. But I look at all of their players firing at their best. The X factor, of course, being they have a certain former Liverpool player who has been waiting to fire up top. And we saw him miss a big opportunity last week. I think he's been what's missing from the team this year. And I guess he gives them a puncher's chance. But Mohamed Salah right now is just getting rewarded for good work and creativity and electricity. His attitude has not suffered, and he just keeps going and showing his professionalism. I think it might be his last year, maybe in a Liverpool shirt. Makes me a little nervous about that. But I think this should be a comfortable win for Liverpool.
Yeah, and Liverpool still have a chance of finishing in the top 4, outside chance. But even in a bad year, they still finish in the top 6. Still pretty good going, all things considered, and it'll be a good fight back from them at the end of the season if they can get over the line and do that. Relegation scrap. Fulham against Leeds. I'll be at Craven Cottage on Saturday for this one. I'll be on USMNT watch. We've got Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson for Fulham. Obviously, McKennie and Aronson for Leeds. Tyler Adams is out injured. I'm going to go for a Fulham win here because I think Leeds have just gone again. They're a very streaky team, but to give up 5 goals at home against Crystal Palace and then back it up with giving 6 goals up at home against Liverpool, that's the kind of results back to back that really does hit confidence. And I think Leeds have just reverted to their haphazard, slapdash defending, kind of taking too many risks. McKennie did struggle against Liverpool. It is Liverpool, but do worry about them without Tyler Adams in midfield in particular. And the shield he's given that back for all season long. So Fulham, without Mitrovic, they figured it out against Everton last time out. Going to go for an easy home win down by the banks of the River Thames. Crystal Palace against Everton. Palace are flying under Hodgson, 3 straight wins since he returned. Everton, though, Nick, that was a big defeat for them at home against Fulham last time out. As Sean Dyche said it, we're kind of just going back into our old habits a little bit. He didn't like what he saw. So losing some momentum in their relegation scrap there. Do we worry about Everton?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. They're not getting wins. They're getting draws. And that is always a dangerous place to be. I mean, obviously they lost the last game, but it was 3 straight or 3 of 4 getting a point, and the performances were good enough, but good enough's not going to get them. You need wins. Believe me, as a Newcastle guy who's seen his team go down twice, draws don't do very much for you. You got to get those wins. This right now seems like a tough place to go get a win, but it also seems like a place that Sean Dyche goes and gets a win.
So you think they're going to do it?
I do. I think they're going to win.
There we go. Big prediction there to spoil Roy Hodgson's party. Leicester City and Dean Smith at home against Wolves. Leicester really struggling in the relegation zone. Wolves, though, that win last weekend against Brentford just eased the fears in relegation for Julian Lopetegui's side. Going to go for a draw in that one, Nick. That feels like Leicester might dominate it a little bit, can't take their chances, and Wolves might come back and hit them on the break. But I feel like that's a draw written all over it, that one. And finally, massive game at the bottom, Bournemouth against West Ham. What do you think about this one? This is, again, another big game in the relegation scrap. And fair play to Bournemouth. Somehow they have clawed their way out of trouble.
Yeah, Gary O'Neill, excellent man motivator, it seems. That he finally, I think he's comfortable there. I think he's finding the right buttons to push, but really are the right buttons to push just having Dango Otera out there. What a player. I'm the president of his fan club since this transfer happened, but he is so scary. Shades of when, even though they went down, when Burnley had Maxwell Cornet, and he just kind of changed and gave them a different dimension to what they do. I still want to go for West Ham here. I really do, but coming off European duty, maybe this is a chance for the Cherries to firm up their safe space.
I'm going to go for a draw again. I feel like I've sat on the fence a lot this week. So, but
stay there. Yeah,
I'm just going to stay up here and enjoy the view. But we are going to enjoy the action this weekend, Nick. So, match week 32, there's our preview and predictions. Big weekend across the Premier League. Head over to Pro Soccer Talk on embassysports.com for previews, how to watch information, live analysis, video highlights, and reaction on every single game.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.